Greetings again, and welcome to another episode of the Awake Mind Reports. But before we dive in, let's talk about a little personal bias we need to disclose about Mr. Noam Chomsky. To put it simply, we've pretty much lost all respect for this individual since that fateful day of September 11th, 2001. If you remember this person's comments about those who were asking serious questions about what happened that day, you may understand why we've completely tuned him out. But today, something interesting has happened. Our OG intellectual has decided to take a swipe at artificial intelligence, specifically the large language models like ChatGPT, and he's been doing this for quite some time. In our opinion, this is the ultimate Strawman argument. It's easy to pick on technology that exists in the cloud. It doesn't have feelings, so it can't get offended. It won't sue for defamation, and it's a good way to stay relevant in our current world. But the question is he right? Our producer has his own opinion about this, but that's for the commentary at the end of this video. Meanwhile, we thought we'd turn this question over to ChatGPT and see what it has to say. So, let's get started. ChatGPT, can you please summarize Noam Chomsky's The False Promise of ChatGPT for the peeps?
The article discusses the potential and limitations of machine learning in artificial intelligence, AI. While machine learning programs like OpenAI's ChatGPT, Google's Bard, and Microsoft's Sydney are impressive, they have limitations. These programs can generate statistically probable outputs, such as seemingly human-like language and thought, but they lack the critical capacity of any intelligence, which is to say not only what is the case but also what is not the case and what could and could not be the case. These are the ingredients of explanation, which is the mark of true intelligence. ChatGPT and similar programs are stuck in a pre-human or non-human phase of cognitive evolution. Their deepest flaw is the absence of a capacity for explanation. For instance, ChatGPT can generate scientific predictions without making use of explanations, which is pseudoscience. Moreover, these programs are limited in what they can do because they differ profoundly from how humans reason and use language. The article also argues that machine learning programs like ChatGPT are constitutionally unable to balance creativity with constraint, either overgenerating or undergenerating. Finally, the article notes that machine learning programs have exhibited moral indifference and that they cannot be relied on to make ethical decisions.
Thank you for the detailed summarization. But do you think this article is correct or flawed?
As an AI language model, I don't have the ability to form opinions or beliefs. However, I can provide an objective analysis of the arguments presented in the article. While the article presents a strong argument, it is important to note that machine learning programs have made significant advancements in recent years and have proven to be useful in various domains. It is also worth noting that many researchers and developers in the field of AI are working to address the limitations of these programs and incorporate ethical considerations in their design. Ultimately, the success of AI will depend on our ability to balance the benefits of innovation with ethical considerations and responsible development.
Now, that's interesting. But can you get a little more detailed with your critique?
Yes, I can critique this text. Overall, the block of text is well written and effectively conveys the author's perspective on machine learning and artificial intelligence. However, there are a few areas where the text could benefit from further critique. First, clarity of structure. The text could be better structured to enhance the coherence of the ideas presented. It jumps from discussing the potential for AI to provide both tragedy and comedy, to praising the advancements in machine learning, to criticizing the limitations of machine learning. While these topics are related, the transitions between them could be smoother and more explicit. The second critique is the overuse of jargon. The text includes a lot of jargon, which may make it difficult for readers who are not familiar with the technical terminology of machine learning and linguistics to follow the argument. The author could benefit from using simpler language or providing definitions for technical terms to make the text more accessible. The third critique is the lack of counter-arguments. While the author makes a compelling case for the limitations of machine learning and the potential dangers of relying too heavily on this technology, there is little discussion of the potential benefits and counter-arguments. It would strengthen the argument to acknowledge and address potential counter-arguments, rather than presenting a one-sided perspective. And lastly, there is a lack of empirical evidence. While the author cites Jorge Luis Borges and other philosophers to support the argument, there is little empirical evidence presented to support the claims. The author could benefit from including examples of studies or experiments that demonstrate the limitations of machine learning, or evidence that supports the author's claims about the unique capabilities of human thought.
Is there anything else that you would like to add to your critique?
One additional area for critique could be the tone of the text. While the author's passion and conviction are admirable, at times the text takes on a somewhat condescending or dismissive tone towards machine learning and those who work in the field. For example, the text refers to machine learning as something so trivial and stuck in a pre-human or non-human phase of cognitive evolution, which may come across as dismissive or disrespectful to those who have dedicated their careers to advancing this technology. While it is important to raise concerns and question the limitations of any technology, it is also important to do so in a respectful and constructive manner that acknowledges the efforts and contributions of those working in the field.
It seems that there are two sides to this issue: those who support AI even if they are cautious, and those who find it offensive. Any thoughts on this?
There are a few reasons why there may be two sides to the issue of AI, one that is excited about its potential and one that is cautious or even offended by it. One reason is the difference in values and priorities between individuals and groups. Some people may value innovation, progress, and technological advancement, while others may prioritize ethical considerations, human values, and the potential risks associated with AI. These differing values can lead to different perspectives on the potential benefits and drawbacks of AI. Another reason is the complexity and uncertainty of AI. AI is a rapidly developing field, and the potential implications of its advances are not fully understood. This uncertainty can create fear and apprehension, particularly among those who are concerned about the ethical and social implications of AI. Furthermore, there may be concerns about the impact of AI on employment and the economy. While some argue that AI will create new job opportunities and enhance productivity, others worry that it will lead to widespread job loss and economic inequality. Finally, the portrayal of AI in popular culture may also play a role in shaping people's attitudes toward it. Science fiction has often depicted AI as a menacing force that threatens humanity, which may contribute to some people's fears and concerns. Overall, the issue of AI is complex and multifaceted, and it is likely that people's attitudes toward it are shaped by a range of factors, including their values, beliefs, experiences, and exposure to different perspectives.
But couldn't AI be both innovative and ethically considerate of human values?
Absolutely. AI has the potential to be both innovative and ethically considerate of human values. In fact, many researchers and practitioners in the field of AI are working to develop systems and algorithms that are designed to be sensitive to human values and ethics. For example, there is a growing movement towards developing human-centered AI, which is designed to be transparent, accountable, and aligned with human values and goals. This approach emphasizes the importance of involving diverse stakeholders in the design and development of AI systems, including ethicists, social scientists, and representatives from affected communities. Furthermore, there are many potential applications of AI that could have a positive impact on society, such as in healthcare, education, and environmental conservation. For example, AI can be used to develop personalized treatment plans for patients with complex medical conditions or to help educators personalize learning experiences for students with diverse needs and abilities. However, it is important to acknowledge that there are also potential risks associated with AI, particularly in areas such as privacy, security, and bias. Therefore, it is crucial that the development and deployment of AI systems are accompanied by robust ethical frameworks and regulations that prioritize human values and protect against potential harm. AI has the potential to be both innovative and ethically considerate of human values, but it is important that the development and deployment of AI systems are guided by ethical principles and best practices to ensure that they are aligned with human values and goals.
And now, commentary. Some of you may be wondering, why bother responding to Chomsky's criticism at all? Because it's important to engage with these kinds of critiques, even when they come from such distinguished scholars as Chomsky. It's also worth examining the arguments that he makes, as they reveal some common misconceptions about large language models and their potential applications. Chomsky's primary objections to large language models are fourfold. First, he suggests that they are prone to misinterpreting sentences that could also be sentence fragments. Second, he argues that they don't learn the way humans do. Third, he claims that they are susceptible to learning false facts or grammatical systems if false training data. And finally, He takes issue with the fact that they are amoral, meaning that they refuse to take a stand on potentially controversial issues. Now, while it's certainly true that language models are not without their limitations, it's important to recognize the incredible advances that have been made in this field over the past few years. These models are capable of generating incredibly sophisticated responses to complex prompts, and they have already been put to use in a variety of practical applications, from language translation to virtual assistants to chatbots. Moreover, we would argue that language models have already illuminated many aspects of the human language faculty, and will likely continue to do so in the years to come. As for Chomsky's specific criticisms, I think it's worth noting that many of them are based on misconceptions about how these models actually work. For example, his suggestion that large language models are unable to differentiate between sentence fragments and complete sentences is simply untrue. In fact, most language models are trained on massive datasets that include a wide variety of sentence structures and syntax, allowing them to make sophisticated judgments about the meaning of different phrases and expressions. Similarly, his suggestion that language models don't learn the way humans do is somewhat beside the point. While it's true that these models don't replicate all aspects of human language learning, they are still capable of generating remarkably sophisticated responses to complex prompts. And when it comes to issues of false training data or grammatical errors, it's worth remembering that these are issues that can be addressed through careful training and testing. Now, it's important to recognize that the issue of morality in AI is a complex one, and not something that can be easily reduced to a simple yes or no. While it's true that language models are not capable of taking a stand on controversial issues, this is a deliberate choice made by the developers of these models in order to avoid potentially harmful biases or misunderstandings. And while it's true that language models are not perfect, they have tremendous potential to change the way we communicate with each other and to unlock new possibilities for human creativity and expression. Yes, there are some who are skeptical of the potential benefits of large language models, but it's important to remain open-minded about these technologies and explore their potential applications in a deeper way. As with the internet revolution of the late 90s, we may not know exactly what the future holds, but we believe that it will be filled with exciting new possibilities, and artificial intelligence will be at the forefront of this new budding revolution. Large language models are here to stay, and they are already changing the way we communicate. And one more thing while we're on the subject. Chomsky's critique of large language models is an issue of interpretability. Chomsky argues that large language models are fundamentally opaque, that their inner workings are essentially unknowable. And while it's true that language models are complex and difficult to interpret, that argument is not unique to language models, nor is it a good reason to dump the entire enterprise into the trash heap. Moreover, it's worth noting that there are efforts underway to make these models more transparent and interpretable. For example, researchers have developed techniques for attention mapping, which allow us to see which parts of a given input the model is paying attention to. This can be incredibly useful for understanding how the model is generating its outputs, and for identifying potential biases or errors. Another point worth considering is the issue of bias. Chomsky argues that large language models are inherently biased, and that they will inevitably replicate the biases and prejudices of their training data. But it's worth noting that there are techniques for mitigating bias in the models. For example, researchers have developed methods for debasing language models, which involve identifying and removing biased language from the training data. And lastly, let's consider the broader implications of language models for society as a whole. These models have the potential to revolutionize the way we communicate with each other and to unlock new forms of creativity and expression. They also raise important ethical and societal questions, particularly around issues of privacy, security, and the impact on human labor. As the development and refinement of language models continue, it's important to consider these issues carefully to ensure that the benefits of this technology are distributed fairly and equally. We also realize that at this moment in time, we sound like one of the biggest cheerleaders on Earth for AI, but it's a little more complicated than that. We do see and feel the shifting sands as the world reconfigures under our feet, and there are plenty of arguments for serious caution regarding AI. But Chomsky's is not one of them.